All right. Well, welcome everybody to our latest workshop. My name is Chris Hunter, and I'm the Chief Marketing Officer of roofingsites.com. I'm also the author of the Ultimate Guide to Digital Marketing for Roofers. We're going to be going over some really cool stuff here called AI for Roofers. This is all part of our AI for Roofers series. If you've noticed that we've been doing more of a series on this because AI shifts and changes so fast in this environment, and has been for the past couple of years. So keeping up with this stuff is a real challenge. Marketing in general is really hard to keep up with. It is definitely a moving target, as opposed to roofing, which doesn't really change a whole heck of a lot on that part, right? But in this workshop, I'm going to teach you guys how to train AI on your company. All right, before we get into a whole lot of this, let's go over who I am. My name is Chris Hunter. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer of roofingsites.com. I'm also the author of the Ultimate Guide to Digital Marketing for Roofers. I'm a member of the NRCA, RCAT, HARCA, all of these letters thrown in there. Basically, we're a part of all sorts of roofing associations. I've been doing search engine optimization since 1998. If you do the history on that, that's before Google. The first time that I ranked a website, it was on Yahoo. That kind of really, really dates me. I'm an old guy. I am an old hat at this whole internet marketing game, and staying ahead of the curve really is, the biggest challenge, I think, with internet marketing in general. Okay. I have random fact about me. I love brewing IPAs. I love throwing these random facts about me. I like beer. Okay. And I like brewing beer too. I like IPAs, Indian Pale Ales. I like hoppy stuff. So that's one of my favorites. I perfected a recipe that I've probably done about 50 batches on, I think, something like that. So all sorts of different batches of small batches, of course, 5-gallon batches of IPAs in the past, 10 years or so. I'm on a mission to double the size of 100 roofing companies by 2028. This is my BHAG, my big, hairy, audacious goal. We are well on the way to doing that at Roofing Sites. And I'm super pumped that you're here to learn more marketing stuff, all of the stuff that we get to do day in and day out. And so let's just go ahead and jump into it. AI. Let's talk about AI, artificial intelligence, and more specifically, LLMs, language learning models. Okay. Things like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini. There are all sorts of tools that are coming out, and it is getting more and more challenging to keep up with these tools. The tools themselves are evolving very, very rapidly, and how they are helping people with their challenges and so forth. Specifically, we like to use AI, since we're a marketing agency, we like to use AI for marketing, okay? We have fully embraced AI in the past couple of years. And in fact, we are building AI into all of our tools that we use in-house. We've built a tool that we call Site Supercharger that helps us automate a lot of the things that we do for our clients. Things like search engine optimization and social media and content creation. Well, we've started inputting a lot of things from AI into Site Supercharger itself. And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit here today. I'm going to show you kind of how to do some of this stuff, for yourself if that's what you want to do. Okay. The problem with AI, though, is that if you just accept what is being outputted by ChatGPT or even Claude or Gemini, or there's all sorts of different tools out there. If you accept what it's actually generating, it doesn't sound like you. It sounds very robotic. It's using fancy words that no human would ever use. There's all sorts of things and even sentence structures of making it sound not like you. So what we're going to go over today is how to train it, how to train specifically a couple of tools on your company so that it sounds more like you. Part of language learning models, right, is that software, it's a software, okay, and it learns, but you have to train it. So before we get into actually into the bones of everything and how to do all this stuff, I want to go over first my 4R roofing marketing system. This is what I wrote my book on. It is made up of 4 pillars. The first pillar is reputation, because nothing that you do, and this is your foundation, nothing that you do in marketing, especially in the next pillar, is actually going to work unless you have a solid reputation. Okay. Next one is Reach is simply just getting in front of more people today than knew about you yesterday. When people talk about marketing, this is basically what they are referring to. Things like search engine optimization, Google Maps, and basically just ranking everywhere on Google, getting Facebook ads going, content marketing, social media. These are all of the activities that we need to be doing. When I say we, I'm an entrepreneur too. I own a company and we do these things on a daily basis. We eat our own dog food. And so all of these things, these are the things that most of the activities that we talk about inside the reach pillar. But there are two other pillars, okay? Resell. Most roofers get this wrong. They stop selling once they sold once. Well, guess what? There's all sorts of cross-sell opportunities, things like gutters and windows and siding and solar, right? Are you actually going back to your former customers on a regular basis and selling back to them? Because guess what? They're 15 times, the latest research says 15 times more likely to buy from you if they've had a positive experience from you before. But yet most roofers that I talk with, and I talk with 4 to 5 roofing companies every single day, most of y'all do not go back to your database. Most of y'all don't go back and ask for another sale. Last pillar is how we typically build our businesses, right? When we first start, it's referral. We love referrals. Those are the easiest and fastest ways to get sales. But yet none of y'all, not a single one of the thousands of roofing companies that I have talked with in the past 3 to 4 years, not one of y'all has this in place. Okay. So a very, very important pillar. Referral, you want to get referrals in. You have to have a program that is shared with your employees, your customers. Everyone knows what your referral program is. It's formalized. It's on your website, all of these things, right? And it's shared out via social media. All of these things are super important in order to get sales, right? And that's ultimately what we want as entrepreneurs. We want to be able to grow our businesses, right? We need sales. Well, marketing is the very tip of that spear, okay? All of these 4 pillars are important, okay? And if you have something happening in all 4 of these pillars, if you have all 4 of the pillars actually working, you're going to have a very solid marketing machine. Okay. So let's get on to how to train AI, right? What do we even train? How do we do this? Okay. So if you think about all of the things that you can train an AI bot on, AI software on, the very first thing that I think of, very first thing that I think of is your service area. It needs to know where you're at and where you actually serve. It needs to know your business history. These are things that we feed to it, right? This typically would be your about page. After looking at thousands and thousands of y'all's websites, I guarantee that only a very small percentage of y'all actually talk about the owner, why you started the company, when you started it, how long you've been doing it inside of your service area, so forth, right? Who's been the business partners? These are all of the things that 1 should be on your website, but 2, we want to feed to the AI so it understands more about your business as it writes for you. Okay. Number 3, accolades, right? What awards have you won? Okay. Have you won the Houston area roofing associations, business of the year? Have you won the Chamber of Commerce business of the year? Are you a member of the Rotary Club? Have you won Rotarian of the Year? Right? All of these things kind of go into that bucket, if you will, so that we can train the LLM. But the LLM, the ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Perplexity, there's all sorts of tools, right? But we want to train those on these things. What associations do you belong to? Right? Are you a GAF master certified, whatever, elite, whatever? Are you part of NRCA, right? The National Roofing Contractors Association. Are you part of, if you're in Texas, are you part of RCAT, right? Roofing Contractors Association of Texas. All of these things trip me up. But you want to make sure that you're telling what we want to tell the language learning module, right? ChatGPT, what associations that you belong to. Further, let's give it some examples. Have you ever written anything? I'm sure you have. I'm sure that you helped to write your website. That would be the perfect thing to add in there. Have you helped write brochures, right? If you have any kind of brochures, sales materials, right? social media posts. All of these things can go into how we are training the software on you. Okay. Now, if you want to get a little bit more advanced, this is super advanced. You ever done any videos? Things like what we're doing right now? Have you ever talked in front of a camera? Maybe that's to a news station. Maybe that's to the camera in a commercial. Whatever. Take a transcript of that. Feed it into ChatGPT. Okay. This is super advanced here, but a friend of mine taught me this one and it works really, really well. Add in your personality test scores. Okay. Your Myers-Briggs, you can get that for free at 16personalities.com. Go to Colby, right? The Colby is another personality test that tells you what your strengths are, basically. If you've got a strengths finder, that's another one, right? There's all sorts of these personality tests out there. But the idea is to feed all of this information into the LLM or the AI to let it know more about you so that it can write in your voice, right? That's the whole point here. Now, before we get into the actual hows to do it all, I want to give you something that a friend of mine, Jonathan Mast, created. I'm a huge believer in frameworks, right? Of course, I made a framework for marketing, right? The 4R marketing system. This framework he calls the perfect prompt framework. Okay, number one, tell it what kind of expert type that it's going to be. Okay, are you going to be an expert marketer? Are you an expert content writer? An expert social media? An expert at, pay-per-click ads or expert at Facebook ads? Tell it, give it some context of what it's going to be at the very start of the prompt. Hang on a second. What is a prompt? A prompt is what we use to feed into ChatGPT or into Claude or anything like that, right? And so the prompt framework here, right, it starts with telling it what kind of expert type it's going to be. Number two, you give it some background. Generally, what are you trying to do? And then you give it the actual instructions. And I'm going to get into a little example here in a second. And then the last, and this is kind of an important one, ask it to ask for clarification because you don't want it just going off on its own. This is an important step because, a lot of our prompts that we use, we're thinking that we're giving it good instructions. Most likely you're not. You're not going to get it down perfect the first time. So if you, at the very end of each of these prompts, you ask for further clarification, you can actually start refining your prompt if you use it over and over again, okay, to get the outputs that you want in a better fashion, okay? So let's give an example here, all right? You're an example at search engine optimization. I would like you to analyze a document that I'm going to give to you to tell me what I need to change to make it search engine optimization to make sure that it is properly optimized for Google. Please, and then add the instructions, right? So please analyze this document that I'm going to upload, and then please tell me or ask me for any clarifying questions and provide me the best response. Okay? Pretty easy. All right, here, let's get into the how. How do you actually do this? All right, inside of ChatGPT, in the upper right-hand corner, right, if you click on your profile, I guess I had loaded a picture. Not sure when I did that. I've been using ChatGPT for a couple of years. But if you click on your profile picture, right, it'll bring down a drop down and say customize ChatGPT, which will bring you to the next screen here. Okay. You can give it some custom instructions. All right. If you tend to write for yourselves or have it write for you, this is where you can do that. Now, the only downside on this, and this is the most basic way to train it on you, there is no way for you to upload once some of those things that I was talking about earlier. Okay. Things that you need in order to train it, right? Like it may be a document that has all of your, service area, what you provide, your history, any of that stuff. Okay. There's no way really in this very basic version to do that. Okay. But you can give it a set of custom instructions here. The next step is through custom GPTs. This is all through ChatGPT. Okay. And you have to have a paid version, I believe, in order to have custom GPTs or create custom GPTs. Myself, I've created probably 15 different custom GPT. And a custom GPT is simply the way that I view it is an assistant that is going to do a specific set of instructions. Okay. So for this one that we're looking at, this one is the roofingsites.com article assistant. So this is a GPT that has been trained on some writing examples. If you look down at the bottom with the little pink, okay, icons, we trained it on some writing examples that we had from our website. Just simply took some of those and copied and pasted those into a Google document and then downloaded those and then uploaded it here. Okay. I had the client info, roofing sites. That's that document that was trained on all of that stuff for, who we are, right? What associations we belong to. I even put in my Colby and my Myers-Briggs so it understands what kind of style it should be writing in. Okay. And then ultimately, I wanted to know about my book. So I uploaded the Ultimate Guide to Digital Marketing for Roofers. It's trained on my book. It knows everything that I wrote in here, 336 pages of the past 20 years of my experience, right? So it knows all of that stuff, and it knows how I write so that that output will be closer to that. And then in the instructions area, I just gave it a set of instructions. I use that perfect prompt framework, right, for it to ask any clarifying questions and so forth. Kevin says, how do you upload physical documents? Okay. So I like to turn them into PDFs. Okay. It can definitely read PDFs. It can read the docx format. Okay. And upload it. If you notice on this screen, it says there's below those, it says upload files down here in the bottom left-hand corner of that screen. Okay. That's where you would upload them. Okay. So we've got custom GPTs. Oh, this was another example. All right. I created a personal assistant just for me, literally just for me, right? My employees don't have access to this. This is Chris's, almost like an executive assistant. The cool thing on this one is that I fed it the Colby scores for myself and of course the Myers-Briggs for myself. But I also gave it Rochelle and Ross, I gave it the Colby scores for both of y'all. And so what I do at the beginning of each week is I am looking to line out what I'm going to work on that week. I feed it. I go directly to this and I say, these are the tasks that I'm going to do. Tell me what I should delegate out. And it tells me, oh, Ross is better fit for this than you are. Or Rochelle is a way better fit for this. And then here are some of the steps that they should work on. Right. So because, I'm a visionary. I'm a typical visionary, in my company. And when I say visionary, I mean, most visionaries are very good at starting things fast, but very horrible at follow through. Right. And that's me. So on the Colby, it's a 3393. That's my Colby score. Okay. Which means I don't need all of the information before I start a task. It means that I am horrible at follow through. I'm great at quick start, meaning that I start things very fast. And then implementation, that's the last, one. I'm not so good at that either. So I've got people that are way better than that stuff on my team that I can hand things to. Okay. So that's what this little personal assistant does for me, right? I feed it all of the tasks that I'm thinking to work on. It tells me whether I'm crazy or not to try to work on those myself. Okay. So that's kind of an example of what you can do here with custom GPTs. Okay. Lots of possibilities. Again, I view these as, little assistants. I don't mean little assistants. I mean that they're assistants. These bots are given a specific set of tasks or a task to do. Like we've got an article assistant. We've got a title generator assistant. We've got, what else have we built? The story brand assistant that helps us build the story brand out for our marketing materials as well as our clients' marketing materials. Okay. We have built all sorts of things and I like building those things in order to get a task done and additionally have trained them on us. Next one is a little bit more advanced. Okay. OpenAI is the back end to ChatGPT. Okay. OpenAI is the owner of ChatGPT. OpenAI has been around for a long time and they have been evolving. They're the ones that have created the possibilities that ChatGPT has come about, right? Almost 2 years ago, it was released in November of, 2022, right? And they released it for free. So the entire world started learning what these AI bots were. Prior to that, you had to work inside of the OpenAI backend, which we were working inside of that at that point. What we have done with it since then is that you can create these assistants. They're literally called assistants. Okay. If you tie into the OpenAI, you just have to log in using your ChatGPT login. Okay. You already have a login, by the way, if you have ChatGPT. You go back into the back end of that and you can create all of these. They're basically the same exact prompts for these custom GPTs, these assistants. You can upload the same information. You can upload files. You can train it on you in order to use it. Now, what do you do with this? This is a little bit more convoluted than ChatGPT is. Okay, so I recommend this only for advanced users. If you're thinking to program things, this is where you would be in the API area. Okay, this is where we are using it to tie into our tool, Site Supercharger. Okay, so this is super advanced, but it's the exact same interface almost as a custom GPT. So I think that's pretty cool that they took this interface and they put it into ChatGPT to create those custom GPTs so that everyone can start creating their own little personal assistants. Okay. This is super advanced. Okay. Play around with it as much as you want to, but I wanted to show you this, that the same exact methodology of what I just showed you with the custom GPTs is how you would do it here. Now, the advantage is that you can share those assistants, with your team. You can add team members in on your account. They would have to go in. It's a little bit different interface than on a custom GPT account. The benefit is that the LLM itself, you're not sharing your data with ChatGPT that's going to eventually have that data help others. Does that make sense? This is your own playground. This is your play area. Your data is yours here. Okay. So that's kind of the difference. In the roofing industry, we don't have to worry about a whole lot of stuff. If you were a doctor, you would definitely have to worry about it, right? With HIPAA laws and so forth. So I would recommend this if you were a doctor. Since we're in the roofing industry, there's no major secrets that we're sharing out. For instance, you wouldn't want to upload your customers' Social Security to ChatGPT. It might be a little safer to do it in the OpenAI API area. All right, let's talk about another tool, Claude. Claude is made by a company called Anthropic. Okay, Claude is actually really, really good. I have not used Claude that much. I've used ChatGPT more than Claude, but Claude it's actually in places better than ChatGPT in my experience. And from what my friend Jonathan Mast, this is his tool of choice. So one thing that I learned just recently is that they just recently launched this projects thing within Claude. Claude, in the past, there was no real way to train it on your company. But with projects, it's almost like a custom GPT. Okay. You can upload if you notice here, okay, I've uploaded the same information, and under each chat, it learns more about you and your company if you do it inside of projects. Okay. So that being said, you can upload a lot of information. If you look, I've used up only 50% of the knowledge size that is allowed, okay, for this project. There is a limitation, but most of y'all aren't going to upload an entire book that's 336 pages, right? Put together a document outlining all of the things that I talked about earlier about your service area, your history, your accolades, all of those things. Put that all into one singular document, upload it as a PDF to Claude or into Custom GPT. So this is Claude. As you can see, I have uploaded information up here. For whatever reason, it's not. Oh, here it is. Okay. So it's got my ultimate guide to digital marketing for roofers. It's got my writing examples, right? These are just social media posts. These are, that I personally have created so it can get my tone. It is other writing examples that I personally have done as opposed to my staff, because I want it to get my voice. Client info. This is that document that has all of those other things that we were talking about, like my Colby and Myers-Briggs and accolades, and that I've written a book, that I'm part of NRCA. All of those things, right, are added in here. Now, what I can do is I can use that perfect prompt framework and ask it to do anything that I want to. In this chat specifically, okay, as we go into it, you're going to see I use that same prompt framework and gave it a pretty lengthy prompt. I said, you'll act as an SEO expert content writer called AI SEO article creator. AI SEO article creators designed to generate SEO optimized blog articles, blah, 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 a minimum of 1,000 words. Using the writing examples, roofingsites.com as a framework, the articles are crafted to be interactive and so forth. And I gave it this lengthy prompt telling it how I exactly want the output to be. Okay. I want it to have, title creation, outline development, blog post, key takeaways, FAQs, markdown for WordPress, SEO emphasis. So this is a prompt that I have refined over the past year or so as we are creating this. Okay. So as understood, I'll act as this, blah, blah, blah. What's the main keyword you'd like to focus on? I said SEO for roofers. Thanks for providing the keyword. So it's coming back and asking me, right? It's prompting me for more information. Do you have a specific title in mind? I told it, generate me some options. Okay, certainly, blah, blah, blah. Here are the few options. I told it number 5. I just randomly picked one, SEO for roofers, how to weatherproof your online visibility. Excellent choice. We'll proceed with it. It created an outline first and asked if I was good with that. I told it looks good. It says, great. All right, I'm going to create the article. So it went ahead and created the article for me. And as you can see, it's a pretty lengthy article that we can literally just copy and paste into WordPress. Okay, that took probably about 1 minute to create that. I also then told it, okay, great. Now create a social post for this blog. And it did. And I said, great. Remember, I'm being polite to the AI. I said, great. Create a Twitter post for this blog. All right. Because Twitter's a little bit different. Right. So I had it create a Twitter post. And I said, all right, great. Now take that and create a LinkedIn article. Because now in LinkedIn, you can create articles almost like you can on your website. So I said, take this and base it on this blog, but create a LinkedIn article. Look at that. It did that. And I said, all right, great. Let's leverage this even further. Let's create a short script for a 58-second video for Chris to use for YouTube Shorts. Created my script that I can use and put into a tool like BigView on my phone, and I can create a short based off of this. So there's a lot of possibilities. And again, this is as close to my voice as you can possibly get. Is that cool or what? Mike says, can you share that prompt? That's amazing. Absolutely. It was up here at the top. You might need to go back to YouTube and capture that. It's a pretty lengthy prompt for sure. Yeah. Pretty cool, huh? ChatGPT. This is the same exact prompt, by the way, that I have inside of ChatGPT. The exact same prompt. So quick tip here, because you can use these prompts, right, outside of just one platform, because what happens if one platform goes under, right? What if OpenAI gets sued and then they close everything down? So what I have done with every single one of these prompts, and especially as I test them and refine them, I have a Google document where I keep the prompt and I keep the training examples so that I could use the same exact information in each of the different platforms. Okay. So I could take it. I can use the same exact prompt inside of Claude, which I did. Okay. It's a little bit different, right? The thing with ChatGPT is that because as a custom GPT, I don't have to feed it this prompt every single time like I do with this other one. With this other one, I have to copy and paste that prompt in at the very top up here every single time. Okay. With a custom GPT, I can actually just say, let's start. Okay. So let's go back to, I'm going to click back here. We're going to go through the same exact exercise. There's a way inside the custom GPT. It says create an article. It says great. What's the main keyword? I'm going to use the same one, SEO for roofers. It's going to take a few seconds. Would you like to provide a specific title? All right. I'm going to tell it the exact same thing that I told Claude, right? Is generate some. Okay. It says great. Here are 5 creative title options, blah, blah, blah. It's going to take a second or two because I'm on Zoom. Zoom has a tendency to slow this down quite a bit. From zero to hero, transform your roofing business with effective SEO practices. I like that. So let's go with 5. As you notice, I don't have to type in the whole thing. I just tell it what number, okay, to go with. It's going to do the same exact thing. It's going to create an outline for me. And while I was doing this, by the way, all of y'all that are listening to this, if you're watching this on YouTube later, this is going to be on YouTube. If you're here now, if you are in my free AI SEO course, you can get to that at the bottom of roofingsites.com. If you're in that, you get access to this custom GPT, right? It's already written for you. It's already built for you. It's already refined. Okay. Okay. So it created the outline here. I'm just going to tell it looks good. Oh, there's the link. Thanks, Ross. roofingsites.com/roofer AI SEO. If y'all are listening to this, this might be on the podcast, most likely. If you're listening to this versus being able to see it, it's at roofingsites.com/roofer AI SEO. You can sign up for my free course on how to do all this stuff. Now, while this is writing, one thing that I do recommend is that you actually edit this. Okay. When it's done, don't just blanketly copy and paste this into Word or WordPress. Make sure that you go through. It's not going to have any spelling errors. It's probably not going to have very many, grammar errors, but make sure it sounds like you. If not, adjust your prompt, train it on you on some writing examples, but just make sure that it sounds good, that it represents you, your brand. It doesn't sound robotic. And that's it. Pretty cool, huh? How do you create a custom GPT? You create a custom GPT by going again to your profile in the upper right-hand corner where it says My GPT. And again, you have to be on a paid version of ChatGPT in order to do this. Same thing with Claude. In order to have projects, you have to be on a paid version of that. But if you're on paid version of ChatGPT, and I prefer ChatGPT, so I don't have to copy and paste that prompt over and over and over again. Okay, I create an assistant and it does everything. Right here, it says create a prompt or create a GPT, right? And you click on that. You give it a name, first of all. You give it a description. You can have it use DALL-E, right, to create an image for this if you want to go that fancy. I didn't with my personal assistant, but I did for anything public, okay? But you name it, give it a description, instructions, that's where your prompt is going to go. Conversation starters, these are the little buttons that come up, right? So this is typically for me just the very beginning of the entire sequence here, okay? Upload your files. I like to check all three of these, by the way, web browser, DALL-E, and code interpreter. Just make sure I have all of the capabilities that ChatGPT has. Actions. This is something that I haven't honestly played with, but this is a way to hook up to other APIs if you're a geek, right? Let's say that you have an API for, I don't know, Expedia.com, and you're creating an assistant that can go out and look to find all of the flights for a specific date. You can hook into Expedia. If you have access to Expedia's API, you can hook into it here, right? That's what these custom actions are for. You can go over here. I prefer this interface, the configure interface, but you can go to the create interface and it'll help you build it for you. I have found that going through this way it doesn't give me the exact outputs that I want. Okay. So that's why I typically go to the configure interface. Okay. But create, that interface will actually ask you and prompt you for the next steps of what it needs. Okay. So and so forth. But I prefer this interface. Now, while you're here, you can test it out inside of this kind of mini GPT area. Okay. It's not going to save this like it does. It's not going to save this conversation, but it's a good way for you to test and go back and forth and to evaluate your prompt and to refine that prompt. And then when you're done, you just click on the create button and it'll save it. It'll give you a link and it'll give you a couple of options. It'll give you, I'm not really giving it a good, starter here, but I'm trying to get to this point right here to where when I click create, there are three options: only me, anyone with the link, which means that you can share it out like I've shared out inside of our AI for SEO course. Okay. You have access to about 5 or 6 different of these custom GPTs that I've created. And then, of course, you can sell it if you want to. You can sell a GPT. I choose not to do it that way. But you can keep it just for yourself, like my personal assistant. I have it just for myself. Okay, sorry, Ross, you can't use my assistant. But that way you can share it out with anyone with the link if you want to. And that's how we've done it here in-house. All right. And that's it. That's it for custom GPTs. Now, let's talk again about Claude, right? We talked about the personal or the projects area. Okay. That's inside of the regular interface. Claude also has an advanced API interface, right? This is, again, very, very advanced. This is where if I were to hook into Claude, which we might with Site Supercharger, we can create an API key. We can plug into this. We can do all of the interactions via our own software inside of Claude API, inside the Claude API. I just have to create a personal assistant, just like I did, or an assistant, just like we did inside of ChatGPT. Again, very, very advanced there. But you can train it on your company. You can do all of that stuff, right? And train it on your company the same exact way. The advantage for the Claude API interface is that, again, you're not teaching the LLM, the Claude interface. You're not teaching it on your data, okay? And you don't have to with this one, but once you create an assistant, you don't have to put that prompt in every single time like you do inside of the projects area, okay? So that's the main differences. This is just like that custom GPT that we just created. All right, so let's kind of wrap this up. Number one, the steps to train your company. Number one is to gather your information, right? Gather all of that, put it into a document. I like to use Google Docs for this because it's easy to get to. I can get to it from absolutely anywhere. Choose a platform. Okay, are you going to use custom GPT? You can use the OpenAI API. You're going to use Claude. Are you going to use the Anthropic? That's what the Claude API is. That's the Anthropic API. All right, that's the company behind Claude. Okay, train it. Right, upload all that data. Create your assistant and all sorts. Give it as much information as you possibly can, and then fine tune it. Right, that's where my prompts have gotten better and better over time because I'm like, oh, I forgot that step. Let's put that step in there. Okay. Oh, what about this? That's not exactly the way that I wanted it to output. So let's change it. And it's the prompt are just the set of instructions that you're giving to the software. Okay. And that's it, right? Again, this is all part of the 4-Hour Roofing marketing system. We are inputting all of these tools into our own systems. So I highly, highly recommend that you do it in the reputation, reach, resell, and referral pillars of your own marketing system. Okay. Now that you stayed here to the end, if you don't have my book, use this QR code that you're looking at right now, right? Use it real quick to go get your free copy, digital copy of my book. I'm giving it away for free because of my big, hairy, audacious goal to help 100 roofing companies double before 2028. Okay. Go to go.roofingsites.com to get that book. Give y'all a second to use the QR code real quick. Next, if you want, I talked about this earlier, but our free AI SEO course, I created a course to teach you and give you the tools on exactly what we kind of went over here today. All right. I haven't yet gone into teaching how to create the custom GPTs in that course, but I've given you the tools in order to create content, create social media posts, create all of the things that you need as a roofing company to be able to do what we do for our clients. Okay. Again, I'm giving this information away because my big, hairy, audacious goal is to double the size of 100 roofing companies. Okay. And I figure that by giving you all sorts of different avenues other than just our done for you services, this free course is out there. Now, if you want to be part of our mastermind group, I don't know if I have a slide on this yet or not. I don't believe I do. I do have a mastermind group that I'm meeting with at 1 p.m. today, Central Time. I meet with them every single week for a Q&A session, 1 to 2 hour Q&A session. But I've got a huge course that we've built on how to do all this stuff, right? How to do absolutely everything that's in my book and then some. I'd highly recommend that you do that. If, however, you just want someone to do all this stuff for you, we would love to help. Okay. Go to roofingsites.com/schedule. Try to say that and without tying your tongue up. roofingsites.com/schedule. Okay. That was way better. To schedule a meeting with me. And let's go over your marketing, pinpoint exactly what's wrong with it, what you need to work on based off of what we know is working currently right now inside of the roofing industry. And let's build a plan to fix it for you. Okay. We have programs that go all the way anywhere from $800 a month all the way up to our one of our biggest clients is around $10,000 a month. So, we do all sorts of stuff for them, of course, but we can build a program just for you and to help you get more leads and sales, right? And grow your business, because that is our sole goal, is to grow your business and double it. All right. Any questions? When do the robots take over? Hopefully never. If it's anything like my Roomba, it will never take over. Okay. Because they are not the smartest in the entire world. Can they lay a roof yet? No, not yet. Not yet. Not that I'm aware of. No. All right. Well, thanks for showing up. Thanks for coming to our latest workshop. Be sure to come next month. Not sure what the topic is. I know I wrote it out at the beginning of the quarter, what the actual topics are that we're going to be talking about, but I bet it's going to be more on AI. Y'all take care, and we'll see you next workshop.